just not the research guy that other people are.
Give you credit
Hell,
for
I've seen complete. You know what?
We're live, Dennis.
Good.
Good.
I've seen complete research papers be cut and paste from other people's work, and it's some person presenting it as something that they created. And now they gave credit for all of it, but it was all cut and paste. There was no original thoughts. It was just them reading different articles from different books or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's perfectly legitimate to some of the major researchers out there. But in my mind, I think that that's just a sham. I would rather have somebody have commentary on the stuff than just cut and paste everybody's stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's kind of like a very unfortunate gray area where you're creating content without actually creating things. You're just kind of not even providing commentary necessarily.
Yeah, I've seen people, get their. We won't talk about all that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know where you're coming from. So we've got to be careful. Anyway, hello, friends and brothers. This is Justin with Masonic Improvement, joined with my co-host Dennis Yates. He's driving the Tesla car around the planet right now.
The SO car.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joined with our esteemed inner circle, and glad to have everybody here.
Good to be here.
Glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, glad to have y'all, man. What's going on Masonically for everybody? Anything on anybody's mind tonight before we really just hit our stride, I guess?
I don't know about hitting stride, but I did have an interesting experience this past week. I got to go to lodge in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
And it was really cool. The the work is a little different up there or up here.
They do it wrong.
It is for sure.
It's a little different. They do things a little bit differently,
Deacon
but it was
his stuff is awesome.
Did you correct them?
No, absolutely not. That was not my gig.
There's the Texas way and the wrong way, Byron.
No. There's the Oklahoma way and the Texas way and the Louisiana way and the Nevada way. Those are the lodges I have been to so far. And I love seeing the nuances and the differences in the work. Just opening and closing lodge is vastly different.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what state you're in. Texas
Some of
doesn't
the
do it like
furniture of the lodge is different.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly did not take a real hard look at the furniture. I was just looking at the ritual.
Right.
And it was fun to me to be sitting in an Oklahoma lodge and see the way they purge the lodge every single meeting. That's a little different than the way we do things in Texas, and it's certainly different from any of the other grand jurisdictions I've been in.
Oh, so it's not like if we need to purge in our lodge at all? It's like totally different?
They
I know you
actually
can't go into detail.
Typically, our purge is, I'm not going to get into any details in here, but our purge is pretty minimal.
Interesting.
Compared to Oklahoma's purge. And, their purge, they're going up to each individual brother. Every stated meeting.
And verifying, yes.
And verifying, yes. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, with certain proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a dues card.
Yeah.
Is it like
it's pretty cool, yeah.
Is it like the Purge, the movie? You get 5 minutes and whoever left standing gets to stay in?
Oh my gosh!
I don't know. I never saw that movie. but it was kind of cool because
they on that.
before the lodge ever opened.
We'll see y'all later.
Right? No, before the lodge ever opened,
actually,
I was in an office with the secretary, and they did an investigation. They went to Grand Lodge of Texas website and made sure I was who I said I was, and thank God. The way they have our dues cards set up, they've got that little QR code. So all he's got to do is scan the code, and he gets a picture of me. And it's even a recent picture with the chops and all.
Man.
And But I thought that was really cool.
Off the Grand Lodge website?
Off the Grand Lodge website.
Wow. I guess they took a picture
think,
when you
mentioning that. Can I just do a sidebar real quick?
Go ahead.
I think every lodge should go and at one of their stated meetings, make it a picture meeting, a picture day. Have a picture day and tell everybody, wear your nicer clothes, whatever.
Your nicest
and we're
denim.
gonna do pictures. We're gonna do pictures so that we can add them to Grandview, so that everybody has their picture in Grandview, and that way it's available to people as they, in circumstances like this, because some Grand Lodges want that information. They want to see it.
Yeah. Well, they're doing their due
That
diligence.
makes perfectly good sense to me, especially for a brother who's going to travel outside of our grand jurisdiction. To have your picture on the grand view gives the lodger visiting the opportunity to add a layer of verification.
Well, and not only that, but we are going to go to we're going to end up going to a deal to where we already can scan our stuff with Grandview, but there's going to come a time when it's going to be a requirement to do that. I guarantee you. We've got the capabilities with the technology that we have today. It's going to come a time that we're going to be required to do that, and so we might as well be up on our lodges need to be ready first.
Honestly, if we're getting permanent dues cards, they should put our picture on the dues card.
They're not dues cards.
Oh,
those are membership cards.
Membership cards. Either way.
Dues cards used to be a receipt for your dues. These are membership cards. So you get that as a member, but it can also be scratched online and you lose that membership.
It's a good point, Dennis. They should put a picture on those. Maybe not now since they just issued them, but when they have
let's do a license on there. Let's do a 3-point of holograph and all that kind of stuff. And
oh my God,
let's make sure
have to hit it with the marker. It doesn't turn black; it only turns brown.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
With the marker that it's clear, but if you're suspended, then it turns black, so you get blackballed.
And then if you're not paid up, right now you get X's on your hands.
All right, I think I took this way too far.
Maybe
Dennis take something too far?
No, that rarely happens.
Well, I'm fixing to exit this and get on my laptop. I'll see y'all in a minute.
All right. I had a point I was going to make, and I totally lost track of what it was now. What are you going to say, Byron?
Okay, well, I was going to say, Cody brought up a good point that's only going to work when all of the secretaries get on Grandview, and we're probably at least a decade from that.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. But, okay, because I have one secretary in the district that is resistant is too strong a word, but he doesn't want to play with Grandview. And I'm like, why not? And I can't get an answer. Because the system is.
Because I just don't want to, Byron. That's why.
Yeah, I know. And I get it that there are going to be those guys that just don't want to. But frankly, it's a good system. And it's certainly the best thing that we have available.
Well, unfortunately, it's hard to really tell somebody they have to do it a certain way when it's a volunteer position, right?
Yeah.
I would love to go back to the way where it used to be where the secretary got a stipend for his work. Because then he could say, look, this is what's expected. This is how you have to do it.
Well, and I don't know about all of the lodges in our state, but I know that at least one of the lodges in the district, they pay their secretary a stipend. And
as much work as they do.
Yeah, they really do need to get some sort of compensation for the amount of work that gets done at the secretary's level, because frankly, he's got a big dang job, a really big dang job.
Yeah.
And if it takes, a pittance, but it's just something that you're giving the secretary in recognition of the efforts that he is putting forth on behalf of the lodge, I feel like that is absolutely appropriate.
I agree.
Well, and they don't have to take it if they don't want it, right? If they want to say, hey, this is for the good of the lodge, it stays with the lodge, but it's in the bylaws that we're going to, pay the secretary.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, right? They don't have, like, I know one of the lodges I'm in, that's what they do. Our current secretary is like, I'm not going to take it. Cool.
Yeah.
And but we're going to offer it to you if you want it.
And what the secretary of one of my lodges does is he takes that stipend and he buys an endowed membership for the immediate previous grandmaster, for the immediate previous master of the lodge. It's at the basement level, but it's an endowed membership for the lodge. So it's still not going to cover, oh, come on, Byron, what's the word?
I don't know.
No, it doesn't cover the base expenses.
Yeah.
What's the?
Does it cover the basics?
The per capita does not cover per capita. The local lodge is still out, what, $3 a year or something like that at the minimum endowment level, but it's something.
Yeah.
So, call it good. That's how I got my endowed membership. And I'm going to leave my endowment there. I'm probably going to go ahead in the next few weeks. I'm going to go ahead and do the legacy builder bit.
Yeah.
Just because I want my lodge, my mother lodge, to realize a little bit of something off of the endowed membership that they gave me.
Yeah. I think the legacy builder is important. I think it's an important concept.
I really do too. I feel like so many lodges in the state have their dues at the minimum. That if you get or purchase whatever an endowed membership at the 10 years of dues level, that's where we're seeing the lodges still having to come out of pocket to cover per capita. So I feel like it is incumbent upon me, and I would hope that other previous masters or past masters in my situation would feel it is incumbent upon them to at least add enough to their endowment that their lodges are not coming out of pocket.
Yeah. And for some of these brothers, I mean, let's be clear. The idea that was sold behind endowments for a long time, it's a one-time thing. You never have to pay dues again, and it was sold as a really good thing. So I don't fault anybody for doing what they were sold on for a long time, just paying the money, the $500, and never thinking about it again because it's a done deal. But for some of these brothers, it's been 10, almost 20 years where you haven't had to pay dues, and to come back and build that legacy and add a few units to your endowment is really the least you can do when you consider how much money you saved over the years anyway.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're living, and let's be honest, it probably won't make up for the money lost anyway. But at least you're building something where it could start bringing in more, start doing better.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Oh, Dennis, hang on a second.
Like your shirt,
slide
Dennis?
To the side a little bit. Deadpool, right on. But no, slide to the side. I want to see your background. Oh, that's very nice.
Hey, what did you think about that suggestion I gave you, Dennis? for the center
with the yod.
Yeah.
I may do that. I'll take this one and work on that and add it, and then see what y'all think.
See how you like it.
Yeah, because this is basically going to be what goes on it.
Yeah.
This right here. In fact, this is going to be my next apron case. I'm fixing to make one like this for me.
You gonna do red?
If you had paid me for the first one that I gave you, then I'll make you one like this too.
Who are you talking to? You talking to me? You said it was a gift.
Yes.
It's like I asked you. It's like, what do you want for? He's like, don't worry, it's a gift. Wow.
I did say that. I just wanted to dick with you online.
I was like, what are you talking about?
But I gotta
turn
ask
you all
now,
red and frustrated.
what's that case gonna run with that emblem on it? I love that red.
It's a limited edition.
Oh yeah, we could do an inner circle case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I'm gonna need another case.
Nice. Yes, you will once you're done being DDGM, won't you?
You are absolutely correct.
Let me put some thought to that, because I do charge quite a bit for my cases because they're all leather and all that kind of good stuff, and they're briefcase cases.
Would you say the price is a case by case basis?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, if it's a case of beer, I'm in.
And just in case you didn't get the memo.
A couple basket cases.
Cody,
No, not basket case, beer case.
I would love to drop the weight on it, but it is a wooden case underneath that. It's wood underneath that leather, and so it's kind of tough. If it was being, I think the problem is like if you went to a metallic alloy that had to be machine pressed, man, I'd have to purchase, I'd have to
use aluminium.
Well, and not just that, but it would have to be, I'd have to purchase, 500 at a time for a company to press them. That's a big deal. But yeah, you're right. They do start feeling heavy once you put an apron or two in them.
Yeah, once you start acquiring regalia and adding it to it, it gets heavy.
Yes.
Well, and for me,
I'll start working on that, Cody, because you're right. It does get a little bit heavy. But I have thought about, instead of having the bigger one that I have, the one I call the Texas Grand, instead of having that, I may just go to a smaller, the one in between the Texas Grand and the regular one, and that'll cut down on a lot of that weight. But the reason I did that Texas Grand is because I had that middle divider that also had the straps for the collars. And what I'm doing now is I've added straps on the bottom of the case to hold the collar in place, and then you put your apron on top of that, and then strap it in with that other. So I can make the case thinner, but you're right. I feel the same way with my own case. I have 5 aprons in it, and then once I put my stuff for lodge, my secretary stuff for lodge in there also, golly, it's heavy. But I am going to work on that. I promise you. And in fact, what we'll do is we'll make the inner circle cases the first run on a lighter case. I'll start working on that.
Honestly, I want to carry at least 3 aprons. I want to carry my DDGM apron. I want to carry my original apron.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to carry my father-in-law's apron.
Yes. Very cool.
That way I keep all of my Masonic history in the one place.
And my regular case, you can carry, I think, around 3 aprons in the regular case, in the thinner one. The bigger one, you can actually carry golly, 5 or 6 aprons.
I
And
got one of the bigger ones, I guess.
yeah, I've got I made ours together, and I carry 5 or 6 aprons in there, plus my Scottish Rite Glengarry and sash and all that kind of stuff. I carry all kinds of crap in mine that I probably shouldn't. But I want to show you something else.
I haven't seen those cases, but could I suggest that a shoulder strap might not be a bad idea?
Well,
it's not a
the
purse,
thing
Byron.
That's what I was going to say. Is that this is a briefcase looking case. It doesn't look like what you have or anything close to what you have. Look at this. This is. Let's see if I can.
Disappeared.
Dang it! My stupid. Can y'all see it?
No. Your hands are there, but you're holding nothing.
Your face is gone. I mean, it's kind of an
This is my new Pastmaster's apron that I created this last year. A brother asked me if I could do it, and so I did it.
Dude, that's nice.
Look at this. Oh, shoot. Look at that.
Dude. Oh, yeah.
I dig that.
And then the top has... See there? And then on the back, now this is my design alone, and if anybody starts doing this, I'm going to be pissed, even though they probably will, because there's no honor among thieves, right? Here, wait. So all of mine have a place for your gloves, but this is unique to me alone. I've started doing this. So you know how most aprons you have your adjustable strap?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I have a buckle on both sides. You notice how all the really big guys, they have to have that additional buckle to add on to make it wide enough for them?
Yeah.
Right.
I did away with that.
The 45 plus inch.
I did away with that so that I could I could accommodate bigger Texas brothers.
Texas size apron.
Texas size apron. And this is legal size with the apron with the 1 inch around the outside and the 1/2 inch on the bib. Everything is legal, and this is real lambskin.
All I would say, Dennis, is I'm surprised you kept it square. Given the changes.
Well, I thought about that, but then I thought I'm thinking about making those a plain slate and then putting whatever somebody wants printed on it on there.
But that's a beautiful apron. I like that a lot.
Now this is my new. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I was going to say, you got to get the website built.
Right. That
is seriously schmexy, and I want one.
I don't know what schmexy is, but I think that's.
It makes
I
me.
think I want one too now. Yeah.
I know. Now this is the one that these I donated to my lodge in Goliad. These are my plain white lambskins with the rims with the glove holder in the back and the extended buckles as well.
That's nice. That's really nifty.
They are nice. Next time you go to Goliad, take note of the regular lodge aprons we have. We don't have those stringy crap aprons like everybody else has, those cotton ones that everybody has. We have this.
Cody.
That is what that pocket's for, Cody.
That's wrong.
I just made it sound better. Because they don't have gloves in there. What do you think they're going to put in there besides their flask?
Oh my god.
But I so that's my my regular lodge apron or the Master Mason's apron, and I'm also donating a set of those, the set of 3, to all 3 of my lodges. Goliad, I say all 3. The two I'm secretary for right now, which is Oso and Corpus Christi 189, and then Goliad as well. I'm donating a set of 3 for each one of them, and the gloves that accompany it for our funerals, so that our brothers that perform the funerals will have that to perform as the and another thing that I was thinking about doing is I'm going to make one like what we get. Oh, well, let me just, what most of us have, and then make some that are a little bit less than what we're paying for them now, so that maybe each lodge could purchase a bunch of them and give them to the family, or have it on the member when they're buried, and then they actually get to wear one in the casket, or make sure and give it to the family instead of taking it off and then taking it home. That should never happen.
I gotta say, I like the idea of giving them white gloves for the funeral service, but I don't think white gloves look really good with t-shirts and denim. They just kind of contrast.
Oh my God.
Hey, now you're slamming my country lodge, and I'm not going to tolerate that.
Justin, some of us upscaled to a collared shirt, okay? Some of us
but polos don't count.
We're rocking the polo, okay?
I starched my jeans.
Nice. You know what's interesting is that you say some of us have upscaled to a collared shirt. So the one that you have on right now, Daniel, we have some now for our CME class, our education class for the Scottish Rite, that have a phoenix on it. Once I get mine's long sleeve, but we have a short sleeve option as well, but it's collared with and button up. And that's just our education class.
Why would you have a long sleeve shirt in South Texas, Dennis?
I wear long sleeve at all times. All times.
Except when he's wearing his Deadpool t-shirt.
Yeah.
Except for when
but you got it now on, big boy.
It ain't easy being sexy.
Oh, okay.
I work in the heat all the time, and I'm always wearing a long sleeve shirt to protect my skin. Because I'm not going to die of cancer because I want to, look cool, be in the in crowd. No.
I don't think anyone accused you of looking cool. I was just asking you about your sleeves.
No, I just always wear long sleeve. Always. In fact, the ones that they originally made for the CME class were the style like Daniel's wearing right now, and they were short sleeve, button up collar and all that. And I'm the one that said, hey, I want a long sleeve. I don't do short sleeve. And he's, well, it's going to cost extra. Okay. That's okay.
It's going to cost $2 more, Dennis, for
right.
sleeves.
Right. It was $7. It was $7. So it was almost $2.50 per sleeve. But
yep.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's too much. Can we just do one sleeve or half sleeves?
Do one full long sleeve and then just chop the other one off.
Yes. Can I put the other on layaway? Can we?
What about buy one, get one free? Do you have that for sleeves?
Yes. That's funny. Can you put zippers on them?
Yeah, there you go.
So when it gets too hot, I can just pull them off. Yeah, but no, the point I'm trying to make is that our education class, where we go and discuss educational topics and stuff like that, we dress down, but even in that, we are trying to become more uniform and more show a little bit more honor to what we're doing than just showing up.
Yeah, I like that.
But we'll see you in a bit, Byron.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, wait till you see this this Phoenix. It's hot, man. It's beautiful. I like it. Because we're called the Phoenix Academy. We're now branded the Phoenix Academy for the Scottish Rite, the San Antonio Valley.
Yeah. I think
my internal is a Phoenix.
Caw-caw.
That's exactly right. I'm a peacock. I gotta fly.
I think it's always astonished me how many brothers there are that know none of the work, none of the ritual, nothing, but they can quote that at a moment's notice as justification to wear their shorts.
Love you, Cody.
Take care, bro.
We'll talk to you again soon. It's good seeing you or hearing from you.
Always a pleasure.
Cody's like the man on what's that TV show, that 90s TV show where he's looking over the fence? You
Home
never really
Improvement.
see him all the way there. Yes. You never see him all the way there, but he's there. He's always there.
Yeah. He always has sage advice. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were you going to say, Justin?
Oh, I was just going to say he always has
Yes,
sage advice.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, Mr. Wilson. That's
Mr.
who it was.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Mr. Feeney.
Not to be confused with Mr. Wilson on what was that movie with Tom Hanks? Mr. Wilson,
the
ball.
volleyball.
Yeah.
Stranded, Survivor. No.
Stranded.
Don't
just start throwing out names. This isn't
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, this isn't a game show.
What is Gilligan's Island?
Oh my gosh.
I take swords for 500.
Oh my gosh. So what were you going to say?
Me?
Yes, you were saying something and I just kept rambling over you.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember. We got sidetracked.
That age.
And I totally forgot. There's Brad.
There's the man of mystery coming in.
Brad,
see that Photoshop.
I want to tell you about something when we get off tonight before you head off, Brad. You inspired me.
What's funny is you look at his pictures and you think, dude, he's trying too hard. But if you know Brad, you know right there he's looking like a man of mystery. And then in his Facebook picture, you can tell that he's trying to raise this eyebrow in that picture. He's trying to do the yes, and it's not working out. He just looks like a creeper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing like popping in and getting called a creeper.
I know, right?
Wow, Dennis.
Working late tonight, guys. I've just finished work finally, and I'm driving home.
Man, I figured you were.
Yeah.
Now's the time to make that money.
It's go time, bro.
Yeah, this is the time that gets you through the winter.
Yeah.
Were you in an attic or just working outside?
No, just mostly just dealing with a lot of draining lines.
Well, I spent all day outside doing yard work, like the entire day, and it was not. Luckily, it's not very hot, so you're not too far from me. So today was.
You're up in the northern part of Texas, though.
Yeah.
It's like 100 degrees every day here.
Yeah, it was like 90, something like that. Wasn't as bad.
Right worshipful Byron Weber.
I know he came in today. He stepped away for a minute. He'll be back.
Yep.
Right worshipful Cody Stewart.
I know we got a lot of right worshipfuls on here. We get ourselves in trouble.
Yeah. We're just left worshipful.
About tonight?
We were looking at Dennis's swag for the longest time, actually. Talking about, he's got some really nice aprons he's been working on. And talking about apron cases and things. I had something I wanted to talk about, but we can wait till we're kind of at a good spot.
Let's do it. It's time.
So I'll put together.
Brad has arrived. It's time.
I was doing some research and came across some explanations for the St. John's. And I'm not going to go into like esoteric or anything, but John the Baptist is supposed to represent being zealous. And I went and found a quote from the Bible. I was like, well, where does it really say this in the Bible? Like, where's the examples of him being zealous in the Bible? And so I found Mark 6:18. And so it says, for John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. And so this is King Herod he's talking about, by the way. And so he basically told a king that you can't do that. That's not right. Knowing full well the consequences could be dire, and they were, right? I believe it was King Herod that had John killed. And so my point is that I'm going with all this is how many times do we not say or do what is right because we don't want to offend anybody? And I think there's always a tactful way of doing things, but I think also there's a time and place. And so, I don't know, man. Like when you see a lodge that's not taking care of business, that's not doing things like they should, is it easier to just mind your own business and leave them alone, or is it the right thing to do to, like, what would John the Baptist do? Well, he would point it out to them, and if they won't hear, he'd point it out to who would listen. And I think when we're entering this era.
Wow, that's almost what I was talking to you about earlier. That I'll point it out. I'm not scared.
Well, yeah, we're in this era of zombie lodges, and what was that movie? It wasn't really about zombies, but it was it had Sandra Bullock, and like you can't make sounds or they'd find you. You know what I'm talking about?
Bird Box.
Was it Bird Box?
Yes.
Was it you can't make
one
sounds?
Where she was blind, where she put the blindfold on?
Yeah.
Or
was
whatever?
It just you can't look at them?
That was Bird Box.
But anyway, the point is,
there's another one that has Will Smith in it with what is that? I Am Legend or whatever.
Yeah,
no,
but that wasn't about sound, I think.
Well, you couldn't make sound, or they would come get you.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, these are both great examples, right? Because you have something going on, and the whole point is, don't look at it or don't talk about it, right? And we have, or otherwise these zombie lodges are going to get us. But the problem, yeah, there we go. You just always have those on hand, don't you?
I do. These are my very favorite.
But the point is, I think we have to start getting to that point. We have to be less apologetic about calling people out on their BS, because these are representatives of our fraternity, these lodges, and the officers that represent them are also the same. If you see a Mason acting unmasonic, or if you see a lodge that's not representing the fraternity in a positive light, I think we have to start being willing to start bringing these up to people and talking about it. And at first, it needs to be presented to the members. I'm not saying,
you know what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not just saying just go straight to your district deputy or the Grand Master himself or something like that.
Well, usually the district deputies know already.
Well,
it's no big secret.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
That's the bad thing,
especially with their lodge.
Yeah.
But I think we have to start being willing to call it as we see it when we see it. What are you gonna say, Dennis?
So, it's interesting what you talk about there. What you're talking about as far as, it is our responsibility to tell people, to whisper wise counsel. And sometimes we actually have to go a little bit beyond that. When a couple years ago, and I still don't like the idea of people pluraling membership with all these lodges to prop them up, right?
Yeah.
However, I have taken it upon myself to step in and try to help a lodge or two. And because instead of just standing on the outside and looking in and saying, hey, you're doing this wrong, I decided to jump in and put my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm saying, okay, I'm here with you. We're going to try and get through this. If we can't, then we're going to have to come up with some kind of an exit strategy.
I agree.
But the idea is to give them what I got and do everything I can to help them to get out of where they are, because frankly, anything can be fixed if you have people willing to do it.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like if they're not following, if they're not opening ritualistically correct, or if they're not following the law book exactly, usually what it is just a correction.
But if even when they're in, it's a shit show and they don't do any of it, and their building's falling apart and everything else, if they're willing to learn from what you have to offer, I can go in and administratively help.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying take the reins and blow off everybody or whatever. I'm just saying administratively go in and say, look, we do this, 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 and this because this is the law. We do this, 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 and this because this is the law. We do this, this, and this because it's strategically sound.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to do any one of these things, then what are we going to do to close the doors?
Yeah.
How are we going to exit without hurting the fraternity or the brethren in the process? That's what I bring to the table, is I'm able to help when those matters. And if the lodge is willing to, then they can pull out. If they're willing to work on what needs to be worked on, then they can pull out of it. I guarantee you they can. The bad thing is when you got a bunch of plural members in one lodge trying to prop it up and not changing anything, just doing the same old.
Well, that's like the saying, God helps those that helps himself, right? And I think you bring up something that's really important. I'm not saying like I see or hear something and just go directly to whoever, and no one wants to be the tattletale. Don't be like a tattletale. Don't be that person. But
it's bad enough I will be. I'm not going to let you hurt another brother.
Address it with the lodge. Offer to help if it's something that you can help with, right? Like you're saying, like if it's just something just absolutely off the wall, like mistreating candidates or just this is obviously not Masonic and you should not be doing this. Yeah, then obviously you need to take that up. But yeah, you should offer to help first. I'm not saying don't do that. I don't want to be clear about that. Offer to help first. Offer your services, even if it's just let me just be here and just clean the lodge or something. Let me do what I can help. But
I tell you what, man, there's a lodge that the ceiling caved in, down here. The roof caved in because the neglect of the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew it was bad, and they let it continue to get worse without having it professionally fixed. And it collapsed. And thank God that they weren't in lodge at the moment, because it would have killed every one of them.
Oh, yeah. There's a lodge.
So I'm going to tell you, if I see leaking ceilings and stuff like that, if I see something that is causing instability of the wood that's supporting the structure, then all bets are off. You better figure out a way to come up with that money within the next 30 days to fix that ceiling, or I'm going to let somebody know. Because that is putting members at risk. And that's exactly why there was a lawsuit a few years back with a grand jurisdiction. There was a lawsuit because people said that there was neglect. And no matter what you think you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, it's wrong if you're not fixing your building and taking care of things.
There was a conversation on Facebook not long ago. I don't know how accurate the claim was, but that a lot of insurance companies don't want to cover lodges because lodges just aren't taking care of their buildings. And I'm not saying it's true, but I could definitely see the reasoning behind that based off what I have seen and what you have seen, and probably everyone in this inner circle and on the chat have seen, with the way a lot of these lodges are ran and the state of them.
Commercial insurance, they come in and look at the structure that they're going to insure. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about $1 million plus umbrella policies, then they're coming to check the structure before they provide insurance.
Yeah.
And so
if you're mold and the ceiling's falling in and
in any of that, and there's nope, you're done. We're not doing this.
Yeah. There's a lodge in the next town over that it merged probably like 6 years ago, but like 6 months to a year after it merged. Keep in mind, for context, this lodge been on the second story, and the first story was the police department for that town. And in the middle of the night, like sometime after this building, these brothers had merged, the entire northwest corner of the building collapsed.
Oh my goodness!
Like the whole thing just collapsed, and so the whole building's gone now. But it's like, man, how? First of all, thank God that it wasn't in the middle of a meeting or something. But damn, how preventable was that? I mean, was it just one of those things where it's just like an act of God, no one saw it coming, or was it from neglect?
Yeah,
there's a lot of lodges in those situations.
And either way, it should you have been in there if it was that bad?
Yeah.
Unless it was an actual tornado in your area, it would have been tornadoes and not a hurricane. Unless it was an actual tornado that came in and did the actual damage, then somebody knew about it.
Yeah.
Somebody knew it was getting to that point.
There have to be signs, right?
Yes, there's always signs. It's kind of like that one lodge that I was talking about. They claimed it was a freak tornado that came through the area. There hadn't been any real freak tornadoes come through the area. And if it had, it was one from back in Harvey. And if that structure had been damaged that whole time, which I'm not going to say how long it was bad, but I know it was bad. And I never went back to the lodge when I found out it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways.
Yeah, there are lodges my wife didn't like me to go to because of mold and things like that.
Oh,
that's a serious issue. Like black mold can cause serious respiratory issues. And once you have it, I mean, you know more about houses than I do, Dennis, but I'm under the pressure once you have it, you pretty much got to gut the whole place to get rid of it.
You almost do. Yeah, you have to definitely gut the area that it's in and cut it back to where there's no more and then treat everything around it to make sure that there's not any signs, that there's not any spores that were starting that you couldn't see yet. Mm-hmm. You have to cut out everything that's there, and then you have to treat everything around it to make sure that it wasn't, something that just wasn't visible yet. Because it's pretty bad. Yeah. It's bad news.
So if it's caused by a roof issue, it sounds like it'd cost almost as much as the roof itself to get all that done.
It can be more.
Yikes!
It can be more.
A whole lot more.
Yeah, because in some instances they will actually put a bubble around the building, depending on how bad it is, to make sure it doesn't, go out into the atmosphere while they're clearing it all out. It's a lot like asbestos. They will bubble it off so that it can't get out to other people and get into their respiratory system. It can be very expensive.
Wow. I think a lodge at that point just needs to make the hard decision.
They need to sell the building now before they can't sell it.
I don't think the building. Well, I don't think a building in that situation would be sellable.
The building's not
the land's worth more than the
sellable.
Building. Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing, is that somebody is going to be willing to buy it either way if it's in the right location, and most of our lodges are. There's not many Well, let me take this back. Let me step back a little bit. Most of your primary lodge locations were close to the center of town, and so they're in prime locations to really sell and do well. It's only the lodges that are in metal buildings out in the middle of nowhere that wouldn't get anything for their land. And even then, they're still going to get at least, in Goliad, it's over $10,000 an acre right now. So, and that's for country land. And you get a break to $9,000 if you buy, 100 acres at a time.
Right, but how many lodges own 100 acres? Most of our lodges, especially when you're talking about these little bitty country lodges, and I'm thinking about cities like Brownwood, San Saba, I don't know where Fredericksburg's lodge is.
I think it's in town.
I know it's kind of on the edge of town. I went by before.
If you've
that's prime real estate in Fredericksburg.
If you've got property that's like, because
anything on that strip in Fredericksburg, yeah.
But Mathis Lodge is on an acre in between town and the lake, and it's not really worth that much. But that's all they got is about an acre. It's a nice sized building and stuff. It's a building.
It's a big enough lot that they have a turkey shoot
Yeah, they can do. Yeah, they can do quite a bit with that one, and it would be worth something if they wanted to sell it. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get at.
absolutely. And it's adjacent to agricultural land. So you have a whole lot of possibilities there. Even if you just wanted to raise it, raise it, and convert that back to agricultural land, it'd still be worth something
Oh
because it's
yeah,
good, strong soil and all this
oh
stuff's
yeah. You
going
could
on
put.
there.
Yep.
You know, but I look back at, where like my mother lodge in Brady is a block off of the city square. They've got 3 stories. We have a radio station in the bottom story. Lodge is the top 2 stories, and the building is actually in pretty good shape.
Mhm.
We've got some stucco issues, but we've gotten those addressed. So far as I recall, we don't have any roofing issues to deal with because it's one of those good flat roofs that drains well in that area. Um, but then you look at other lodges in that area, like um, I forget the name of it, but the lodge over in Menard, the lodge up in Paint Rock are all in metal buildings, and those things are just durable as all get out. But when you start looking at some of these other smaller country lodges that are in, 130, 140, 150-year-old buildings, they're not metal. They may have a masonry uh, first floor, but then the second floor was added on, if there is a second floor at all. And you start winding up with a whole bunch of different insurance issues that you've got to look at when you go to look to insure these places. And that's where I am super hopeful with the things that Right Worshipful Billings is working on,
I
and
agree.
trying to get something better going for Masonic lodges. Buildings that are infrequently used, that liability because of their infrequent use is severely restricted. Maybe we'll see something come out of that. Maybe we won't. But we can't count our chickens before they're hatched. So we got to figure out what we're going to do with these, especially these smaller rural lodges that are looking at, well, if my insurance premium is $3,000 a year and we've only got $9,000 in the bank, we got to figure something out.
Gotta make hard
Yep.
decisions. That's
Yeah,
what it comes
and
down
it,
to.
and it is. It's tough, and I hate to use that phrase that I keep hearing, zombie lodges, but yeah,
Maybe
It's
it's
a
time
suitable
to
phrase.
rent a room.
yeah, exactly, or consolidate.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's time to pony up and pay what we should be paying the
There
whole
we
dang
go.
time
There it is.
and actually
Oh,
pay
whoa,
for
whoa,
what we're
whoa!
using and put
Most
our money where our mouth is. Sorry, we're talking about saying stuff. I'm just going to say it tonight.
Damn. Yeah.
Here
Throw
come
down the
those
Loud and proud.
numbers.
money and be
You know, I,
like, this is actually what my Freemasonry is worth to me. And if it's worth
Yes.
$5 a month, it's worth $5 a month. If it's worth 50, 50. If it's 500, 500. If you got it, spend it to make it worth it. If that's important to you.
Yes.
I was talking to somebody at OLT and he was talking about his little lodge. He's like, oh yeah, we got like 10 people and we're so stoked, and I'm like, man, we got 15 to 20 showing up on a regular and we're still scraping by,
Mhm.
but
Right.
I mean, what is it worth to you? What is it
Yes.
worth to you? Is it worth your money out of your pocket? Hey, let's put some money in this. Let's actually make it worthwhile. And that's the thing, is it's not even like, I mean, okay, we can say inflation's been out of control the past 2, 3 years, right? Okay, cool. All right. Take that out of it though. Go back 5 years. Were you in line 5 years ago? Were you in line pre-2019 price
Right.
increases?
Yes.
Um, you know, were you? That's the real question. Are you willing to separate the money from your wallet, or are you just willing to spend somebody else's money?
Mhm.
Dude, 2007, the bottom dropped out of the world. And so I don't want to hear any excuses today with having money issues or whatever because of a little bit of inflation. In 2007 or 2008 actually, everybody's pension just lost it. Everybody lost everything that they had thanks to, the big bubble that popped. So, you know, hearing people complain about a little bit of inflation today is just, I just can't get over. I can't fathom how you can, think about that being your excuse, because the problems that we face today have been happening for decades.
Yeah.
If the problem that you're in your lodge right now is not a problem that happened over the past 2 years, the problem with your lodge has been a decade in the making, because like you said, it's what your masonry's worth to you. And frankly, it's been devalued for a long, long time. The minute they started having fish fries is the minute that they started devaluing the lodge.
Well, the fact about inflation,
there was a time when people there was a time when people built their own lodges, and they built other buildings in the city to make sure that there was a big city for their families and the community to live in, that was safe and comfortable. And there was a time when the Freemasons of this country established everything. And now there's not a time, we're at a time when Freemasons can't pull an extra $5 out of their wallet, because it's eating into their dues money that they have in the 10 lodges that they're members of.
That's true. The thing about inflation is it's there's nothing, what's the saying? There's nothing guaranteed in life but death and taxes.
It's all
right?
relative.
But inflation is one of the things that's guaranteed also. There's never negative inflation. Things always get more expensive. Yeah. And a lot of these lodges that are fussing about dues, they haven't raised their dues in 10, 15, 20 years. Or ever. Yeah. It's a necessity. And the fact, and I've seen this, and I know this is a fact, there are lodges that would sooner merge or demise than raise dues. And to them, I say, you're getting what you put into it at that point. But how do I want to put this? Yeah, the plural memberships is a problem. I won't deny that. I'm a plural member, but if push came to shove, I would go back to my home lodge in a heartbeat, because that's my lodge, and I'm proud of my lodge. But we have got to start paying what it's worth to us. Granted, on the other side of the coin, the value has to be there. Right? There are lodges that charge $50 a year still, and I know that because one of my other lodge just voted the raising for $50 a year. Finally, thank you. But we went from 50 to 150 and lost half the membership because, well, we lost half the endowed members. They stopped coming to the lodge because they were upset about it. Oh, okay, because they had a dog in the show, right?
Yeah.
No, you're right. We went from 50 to 135, and one brother stood up and he's like, "Well, I forget what it came out to. It was like $15 a month or maybe $20 a month." He's like, "This is money coming out of my pocket that I used to feed my children." Well, fucking honestly, dude, you probably should admit anyway if you're
right. If you're taken away from your family like that, then you need to find something else to do with your time. Yeah. Maybe get a second job. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And to that point, Dennis, maybe we as brothers should step up and actually help that guy. Like, hey, what skills do you have? Like,
right.
What's your skills Like, is it a skills gap? Is it a will gap? Is it like what's going on here?
Yes.
At one point, we were the Masons were the movers and shakers of those towns.
And we helped each other.
To come and be Masons. And there's a reason why there's and I know that the tinfoil hats are going to come out with this comment. There was a point in time where people understood we help each other out, right? And I'm not saying Masonry is going to get you ahead in life. But what it should do is you should respect a brother in their business and be like, hey, let me help you out. Let me pay you full price. If you have a stonemason in your lodge and you need brickwork done, let me pay you full price. I'm not going to ask you for a discount.
And you choose him to do the work because he's a brother.
Yep.
That's the way it should be.
If it's an electrician, if it's an HVAC guy, if it's a lawyer, if it's a business person, somebody, hey, let me help you out. Let me get your knowledge. Let me share that. Let me pay you what you're worth. And then, I mean, if nothing else, it's going to be a little circular economy, and that's when you saw these towns building these buildings that cost at the same time, were equivalent today, a lot of money, and they were able to pay for it because why? They had the membership who was willing to do it. They were willing to talk to each other, willing to build each other up, and actually willing to part out that money out of their wallet.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you got the Scottish Rite buildings
they created their own economy. They didn't let the world tell them what their economy was going to be. They created their economy by helping each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I think a lot of people fail to realize is that Freemasonry is not free. It is not free in a financial term. It is not free in an esoteric term. It is not free in any sense of the word. What you want out of Freemasonry is going to cost you.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to cost you from your wallet, or it is going to cost you in your time and talents, or it is going to cost you in your mind, in your soul, and in your heart.
I was visiting a lodge not long ago, and as I was leaving, there was a gentleman talking to some people out in the lobby, and the worship master, he's a good friend of mine. He's like, yeah, that guy's wanting to petition. He doesn't have a job or anything. It's like, honestly, that's a big deal to me. We have
that bothers me that somebody would even come to me with that they wouldn't have shut it down themselves.
Yeah. Well, he didn't come to me with it. He came to me after the fact. He didn't like take care of this or anything like that.
Right.
But it's like, man, we have degree fees. We take a lot of time. It's very time consuming to become a master mason. And honestly, if you're doing things right, it's still time consuming after. You don't have the time or the money. You need to find a job. You don't need to be worried about Freemasonry at this point in your life.
What's interesting is we talked last week on or maybe it wasn't us. I was talking in one of my other bodies. We were talking about what it is to be a man and the responsibilities of manhood and taking care of things and stuff like that. And golly, we were talking about, oh gosh, I can't even remember. But anyways, there was a guy that asked me, we were talking about what we would say. We can't even, there's this phrase, that catchphrase, we take good men and make them better, but we can't even come to a mutual understanding of what good is.
Yeah.
My good is way up here, I can tell you. My good is, I know that I'm never going to have to ask you about your dues. I know I'm never going to have to ask you about, the dealings with your family and you hurting your family or anybody else. I know I'm never going to have to go bail you out of jail. I know that when I'm talking about a good man. But somebody else's good man, he's a good guy. He's just got, a little financial trouble right now. Well, that's fine and dandy. I understand good guys have financial troubles. However, if they continuously have financial trouble, then that means that they're not good at managing their household. So how are they going to manage my household at the lodge?
No, they need to be on the finance committee. Make them treasurer, in fact.
So, but I was going to say earlier today, I always wear my caps everywhere, and earlier today a guy said, "Man, I like that hat," and he said, "That was your black truck sitting out there, also, wasn't it?" I said, "Sure was." He said, "Man, I like that hat." I said, "Yeah, it took a lot of hard work to get there." He didn't say another word. And that's how I feel about it, is that, if somebody, that he's wanting to strike up a conversation, I'm not going to try and pitch it to him. I mean, number one, I walked into this dark bar to get my wife a beer. We were at the bowling alley, and he's in this bar, and and you know, one of the regulars, and I don't know if that's where I'm going to find that good man guy that's there on a Sunday, drinking with all the rest of the people that are sitting there, instead of being home with their family or doing whatever. I mean, he was camped out there. You could tell, and you could tell he was camped out there just about every day, just by the way that he carried himself. And I don't know that that's what I want for my lodge. And I don't have anything against drinking. I drink. Everybody knows that. But that's not where I camp out. It's not where I spend my time. Especially on a Sunday.
And Dennis, just to build upon that for a little bit, yeah, that could probably be, maybe he's a great guy, but at the same time, like, are we actually taking somebody who's good and building upon that, right? Are we actually, it takes time to get to know folks, right? I'm not trying to exclude that. I'm not trying to say you did anything wrong, right? At the same time, right? But are we looking for those people in our lives? Are we looking? I was talking to somebody, I don't know where it was, but they were talking about, like, even just sharing pictures. Hey, this is what my lodge is doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm up to today. And they're targeting people who they know would make good Masons.
Well, remember a while back we had talked about that brother that on Facebook, that he friends people, and then that way they see what he's, because he knows what he wants for his lodge. And if that person is an upstanding person that he thinks would be a good contribution to his life, then he'll friend them and see where it goes.
Yeah, smart.
And that's smart. That is smart, just to be able to, like, share. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm up to. Come join if you want.
It's like me getting friend requests from other people. I get them, and then I'll watch and see what they're posting. Actually, I look before I friend them, but I watch and see what they're posting, and if it's not what I think it should be, then I unfriend them pretty quick.
And yet somehow, Dennis, I'm still friends with you, despite all the dad jokes.
I was thinking about what Dennis said about the amount of work it takes, right? And you got all the work it takes to get him to be a master, and then all the work it takes to go through the chairs, which is quite a bit, or should be, depending on your lodge. But then I was thinking about, like, Masonic improvement, and so I was actually trying to look. We have 283 videos, and most of them are about an hour and a half, 2 hours long, right? And so to get where we are today, it has taken a lot of screen time and road time and book time to get Masonic improvement where it is today. So, yeah, I mean, it's a journey for sure.
Speaking of book time, what you ought to do is use those books that you don't read and use that to prop up your mic. Put your mic on top of those, and then it'd be a lot easier. You wouldn't have to hold it to your chin. But I could tell the difference with the sound. But yeah, you could put those books to good use that you got.
Yeah. Damn, I had something else I was going to say too, and I forgot it now.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Oh, did anybody get their transactions of the Texas Lodge of Research today?
No.
I think I got mine the other day.
Yeah, I'm not a member.
I did.
Brothers, if you enjoy,
It's got Christopher Livingston in there.
I know that's one of the good ones for sure.
That's how you know it's good. It's got Chris in there.
But if you enjoy learning about Masonic history and other things Masonic that Texas Masons are publishing, Texas Lodge of Research is a really good lodge to be a member of. It's $50 a year, and you get a book, and then to be a full member, you have to publish a paper that will go into the book.
Ew.
And then with that full membership, then you get a Grand Lodge of the Republic of Texas apron. It has gold borders and a gold star on it, and it's a really cool apron. But anyways, I love it that some of the things that I'm a member of I get books. It's kind of like the Scottish Rite. I get one with the Scottish Rite Society, Scottish Rite Research Society, and what's another one that the Philosophical Society. There's a couple of different ones that I get books from just randomly, and
What's
it's
that
always
Scottish
a
Rite
great
one?
surprise.
What's the Scottish Rite one we've talked about before? I was thinking about that earlier today.
The Scottish Rite Research Society, $60 a year.
Is that the one that sends the books? The
Yeah.
Scottish
Yeah.
Rite Research Society.
The annual, and also they send. Sometimes you get bonus books too. Like, normally you get the Herodom book, which here, let me go grab one.
Anyway, while he's looking for that, and no one's talking for a second, I was trying to find a quote from Pike because we were talking about doing work, and I can't find it exactly. I thought I had it, but anyway,
this is very similar to like the Research Society. I mean, like the Lodge of Research, and the Book of Herodom. It has different different discussions in it each time you get one, and you usually get one a year. Like this one, the first one I pulled out, The British Birth of the Occult Revival, 1869 to 1875. And fascinating stuff that you get from being a member. And then I got the French degrees, the French Rite degrees, as a bonus book not too long ago.
Yeah,
those are my favorites, man. Those are my favorite things to be a member of. And they, but what's bad though is that for most people is that they cost more than a lot of lodges out there.
Oh yeah, especially once you do join them all. I was gonna say, Dennis, you were talking about the value of doing work, and I was trying to find a quote. So it's from Pike. It says, "The rest that follows labor should be sweeter than the rest that follows rest."
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what we should be striving for. Is that labor, living like that, like we're in that beehive, always being productive, always doing something.
Yeah, for sure.
What else everybody has tonight? Because it's getting close to 10:30. We probably should start.
I've been talking a lot.
I know you interrupted me a few times.
Yeah, but no. How does that make tonight different from any other night?
Your words, not mine.
I love you, Dennis. Man? I do. I love you.
I'm sorry, but there's a reason why Justin needed me on this show. and there ain't nobody else that's been able to compete with these vocal cords, baby.
Oh yeah, give him a nice little rub.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tell him thank you.
Underneath all that skin, underneath the turkey swag.
Right.
All right. Well, with the turkey swag, let's go into final thoughts.
Okay, it is 10:30, isn't it?
Oh, we needed to say real quick. So this Wednesday, you and I are going to record over a topic that we had discussed previously, right? But
yeah. Which one do you want to do?
Well, based off the feedback we got, I think we should do slowing the process down.
Okay. So I need to write that down and what was the other one that I had brought up?
I just thought about it earlier and then I forgot. It was about I have to look on Facebook because I know you commented on it. Oh, the perfect lodge size. Like, what's the best?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And there was a post. If y'all didn't see that in Texas Freemasons, there was a post on a brother asking, what's the perfect lodge size, and people all had opinions, and my opinion was, the different variables. And Justin and I have a show that we're going to produce on that.
Yeah. Because
I think it's about time, since we do have people that are starting to think about their lodges, what's going to happen.
Also, am I correct in saying this coming Sunday, we need to do our book club?
Let me look and see.
It should be the first Sunday of August.
We may have to
be this Sunday.
We may have to push it to the next one because I think this Sunday we're going to celebrate my daughter's. Yeah, I had it down for this Sunday.
Well, that actually works better because what chapter are we at?
7.
7.
Yes.
And you're talking about kind of expediting a little bit because you want to get into esoterica, right?
Yes.
Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is not terribly long. Let me look at chapter 8.
But the reason why is that this coming Sunday we'll be dealing with doing my daughter's birthday.
I understand. Do you want to do chapter 7 and 8? Still leaves us quite a bit though. I don't want to overwhelm everybody.
What do y'all think? I could do multiple chapters because they all bleed into each other anyways.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to say 7, 8, and 9. Because 9, 7's all in all. We've talked about that, all of this.
Yes.
We talked about that at length. 8 is, let me look here. I got allergies tonight, y'all. 8 is the planes of correspondence.
That's a good one. As above, so below.
Yeah, as above, so below, which we've also, and then 9 is vibration.
I think we talked about that too.
I think these are all concepts we could discuss.
Oh yeah, let's do all 3.
Let's do 7,
8, 9.
So that
Y'all
won't
good
be
with
this
that?
Sunday.
This next Sunday.
There's not going to be this next
10th.
Sunday.
The 10th.
The Sunday after that.
7 is a scary number because 7, 8, 9.
I love you, Brad.
I just feel sorry for Daniel because he didn't get to say it.
He always was a little odd.
But I can tell he loved it. Oh my goodness,
Me and
that's
Daniel
awesome.
are going to start a podcast where all we do is dad jokes, just the entire time, just back and forth, just dad joke, dad joke, dad joke.
Yeah, and you'll be the only ones that subscribe.
Oh no! Have you guys not seen Deer Blind dad jokes?
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah.
No.
Oh, they're awesome.
We need to do like that show where they eat the hot wings, Daniel, where they like, eat the hot.
Oh my
we just keep getting hotter and hotter, but we gotta keep the jokes coming.
But with dad jokes, yeah.
That's funny. That's so funny.
We'll call it hot dads.
Did y'all? Oh my gosh. How many dad jokes it takes before you lose all your listeners in one episode? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
As you watch them drop off.
Well, they gotta be there to jump off.
Have y'all seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet? Speaking of hot wings,
today.
Yes, it's a great movie.
You're talking about that pocket. I was like, man, all you do is take the gavel, hollow it out, and screw the bottom off of it, and you got a whole flask right there.
Yes, yes. How many places you can put a flask?
Yeah.
But Josh has the gavel for that.
Oh yeah, that's why you need a big gavel.
Oh yeah, he has the big gavel. Yes. Well, he's got a beer gavel. Mine would be a Scotch gavel. It doesn't have to be that big.
And your gaveling gets lighter throughout the night.
Yeah. Yeah, more hollow sounding. Yeah. That's funny.
All right.
Oh yes.
All right. Yeah. Put a little tap on the pillar. Just go.
That's funny.
They really are hollow.
Hey, we need to close again.
All
okay.
Right, yeah.
We need no, I'm talking about you need to close and you pull it down to fill it up.
Oh yeah.
I say we open, okay.
Nice.
Different types of beer with each one.
All right, hold on.
Okay, we lost our listeners now. Our whole 2 listeners. I was just going
to mention the table of contents. Like when we look at it, if you do 3 this next time in the Kabbalion, then that leaves 3 and 3 left. So like you could do it.
There you go. That works out good.
That'll be good.
In a total of 3 book clubs.
Yes.
So, I dig it. That'll put us towards the end of the year. Then we can start over the new year with Esoterica. Because we'll do August and then September, October, November. I mean, it depends if we want to do one in December or not.
Well, December, we're going to be getting ready for Grand Lodge.
Oh, I'm already ready. Have you gotten your hotel?
I live in Waco.
Oh yeah, you don't need one anymore.
I
I
don't
got
need a
my
hotel.
hotel.
Oh, bougie Waco.
Yeah, I'm totally
I know.
bougied out.
I live in
I
Waco
know.
now.
But
I'm one of those
I will
guys.
say this: we have I have at least one room available in the house.
Nice. And it's reserved for an
So
inner circle member.
absolutely.
Nice.
So any of you inner circle guys that are looking to come up for Grand Lodge, I've got one bedroom.
Very nice. Well, if I didn't have my family, I would take you up on that, but my family always comes in with me at least for one night before they take off again.
We
Well,
have we have one
there
comment.
could be a second bedroom, but that's it.
Nice.
It's just the two.
Right.
Oh, never mind. I misread it. We're good. All right. Well, do we want
What?
to? Oh, I just misread it. It didn't matter.
Misread what?
I read a comment. And I read it as though they were reaching out to lodges and couldn't get feedback, but I read it wrong. They reached out and got lots of feedback, so that's why.
You
I'm like,
know,
never mind.
we need to start reading more comments during this show.
Well, I read them, but it kind of sidetracks our conversation if we do it too much. So, and it's kind of hard.
Oh.
Usually, by the time I get a chance to say anything, it's been 15 minutes, so the opportunity has passed.
Well, you know, they could join the inner circle and be part of the Zoom.
They could.
They
if really wanted
could.
They
to
could.
be.
That's a great point.
Or they could even use a super chat, which I'm sure you would respond to as well, right? So
Yes. Yes.
There is one question that says, does a Mason need to buy his apron before joining or after joining? I can only speak for Texas, and that's usually included in your degree fees here in Texas. I can't tell you about any other state or jurisdiction how it's required. So, with that said, do we want to go into our final thoughts now? Byron, Daniel, Brad.
You know, if you're going to put me on the spot, I'm going to say my final thoughts is that we need to go back to looking at how we're going to maintain our relevance within our general area of responsibility. So, each city has a lodge or ish. And how are we going to maintain our buildings in a state that they are occupiable? We've all heard the horror stories about how, especially, these smaller country lodges run into issues where they have collapses, they have liability issues because of the way the places have been maintained for so many years. And we really do need to step up as individual Masons, not as individual lodges, as individual Masons. We need to step up. We've got to find a way to make these special places special.
Yes.
And that's going to require taking money out of your pocket and putting it into the thing that you value. If it's not worth, in your estimation, the value that is being asked, then maybe it's time to look at how to gracefully exit the scene.
I like that.
I hate having to say that, but it really is the truth.
Well, yeah, it's not easy. No one wants to be that guy.
No, nobody wants to be that guy.
I don't hate saying that
For most
because
people.
because I think that if we slowed down the process and guarded the West Gate to begin with, then we would have people that felt that honor and duty within to just step up and do the right thing.
It's true.
That's what it ultimately. And I'm sorry, I started a conversation on your closing thoughts. I apologize. Go ahead.
No. Please continue, because
I think
I'm going to add
you're
on
on
to
the
that.
money. I think you're on the money.
I feel like if Masonry really means something to you, it's worth $1 a day. And if you're not willing to put $1 a day into your Masonry, maybe you ought to look to the lions or the elks. And oh, Jason's not here. I can say the elks. You know, but really and truly, I mean, come on. What's it worth to you? What is it worth to try and make yourself better today than you were yesterday every single day? Is that worth $1?
Maybe even.
Maybe it's worth $5.
That's like a whole sleeve.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's like both sleeves, dang it.
I mean,
You're all
come on,
in.
people.
It's going to cost so much for 2 sleeves.
But I mean, honestly, let's take a real hard look at what we're wanting and what we desire out of our masonry. And let's honestly look at putting a price tag on that and figuring out how to put those monies into our masonry and preserve these beautiful, wonderful, old, fallen down lodges that have so many memories for us. You know, these wonderfully special places that have meaning. Do you want to just let it fall apart and turn into dust? Or do you want to prop it up? Do you want to make it special? Not just for you, but for every Mason that comes after you.
Yep.
These are hard questions, and they're going to require hard commitments. Make them or don't, but figure it out.
Make a decision, either way.
Yeah, one way or the other. Figure it out.
Just get off the fence.
That's where I'm at.
There you go. Nice.
I love it, man. You're spot on. Who wants to follow that?
Sorry.
No, it was good. I was like, who wants to follow that? Daniel? Brett?
I'll jump in and I'll just keep building upon what Byron said, right? Like, is it worth it to you? Is it worth it to you? Is it worth you? Hey, if it's worth your time, it's worth your money.
Mm-hmm.
If it's worth your effort, then be all in. You know, just keep going. Keep making it better. If it's not a place you want to be, why not? What made you want to join in the first place? Reignite that passion, reignite that zeal. Come in and don't let those grumpy past masters get to you. Just keep pushing for what's right. And you know what? If they are going to just be in the way, be like, guys, this is where we're going. This is where we're moving. This is what's going to help us. Because I think about it, I have a son who just turned 11, you know, in a few years, he might want to join Freemasonry. Is my lodge going to be there for him to join? Is it going to be a zombie lodge at that point? You know, I'm one of the youngest 3 people in my lodge. You know, I think we had a couple new people come in, so maybe it's now youngest to 5, right? But 10 years down the road, there's not going to be a lot of those older guys there. What's going to be left? What's going to be left standing other than a concrete brick building? Are we going to take it and make it really good and really great? And Byron, to your point too, you know, we call it the lodge. Well, is it a lodge or is it a temple? Is it a fraternity or is it a brotherhood?
Yes.
Words have power. They have power. Are we actually calling it what it truly is and what it should be called? So that way our words have those powers. And are we doing that, right? It's not petition for the degrees of Freemasonry. It's petition for the mysteries of Freemasonry.
Yes.
Is there mystery in Freemasonry still that we can find and we can share and we can seek that truth and that knowledge that's out there that we need to share and that we need to have in order to build upon and keep our brotherhood moving forward and keep it a place of mystery and respect and a temple of knowledge and wisdom.
Very nice.
Man, you're
nicely
on fire
said
tonight.
Yeah.
Man, both of y'all. Man, if we're building upon that, I'm screwed.
I actually came on camera tonight, you know, so you know it's important.
I know.
You know, I actually got
right?
something going on.
That's
and
right.
I love the way you put that, Daniel. I really do. Is it a lodge or is it a temple? I think that might maybe turn into a paper.
Yeah, we should have.
That's a good, yeah.
Yeah.
We should have never taken that mindset out of the fraternity, or actually out of the brotherhood, because that's another thing that we took the mindset out of, is calling it a fraternity instead of a brotherhood, which is what it originally was.
And there's
And
another paper.
yes, because the fraternity, we I have a feeling that that goes hand in hand with our tax law, which we can, be a nonprofit based off of being a fraternal organization. And so, that being said, did we really need to, or was it because we were fighting with the churches, and we didn't want anybody to think, oh, it's an occultish temple, blah blah blah. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but we took the temple out of the room, and we took the brotherhood out of the fraternity.
I was thinking today, and I know Brad and Tommy still talk, but since you brought that up, and you could tell me I'm totally off my gourd for even thinking this. I would almost rather the lodges practice Freemasonry as it is meant to be taught, as it is meant to be practiced, and charge what Freemasonry is actually worth, rather than doing these dog and pony semantics to avoid paying taxes. I'd rather have to pay the taxes and actually practice real Freemasonry, instead of someone saying, whoa, you have to do fundraising. You got to keep that 501c3. You can't lose that tax exemption. I'd rather not.
Right.
I'd rather not even have that over my head. I'd rather
Right.
be able to just to practice Freemasonry. And if you're
But then
charging,
they definitely couldn't afford their buildings.
well, I know, but if you
And
charge,
Well,
what you
but
do we need
that
to, do we need to go
then
back to pubs?
yeah,
Yes, that's where I was on Friday with the Knights of St. Andrew. That's where we meet. As
but
chief, I got to make that choice, and that's where we meet.
as we and I hate to step on anybody else's final thoughts, but we kind of started another discussion on this. If we eliminate the 501c3 and do just practice being a brotherhood, maybe then we eliminate the problem of zombie lodges. Maybe then we elevate what it is to be a Freemason. I'm just going to throw that out there and let y'all cogitate on it. I know I'm going to cogitate on it because I've already written it down on my little handy dandy notepad. Because, I have kids of an age who watched Blue's Clues.
Nice.
All right. Let's get back. Brad, you got any thoughts? Brad, by the way, before you talk, I want you to stick around after this. I want to talk to you. Everyone can stay,
Yeah.
but I'm saying Brad specifically. I want to be sure you hear what I have to tell you.
It's fine. Yeah, no, I was thinking, I like what you guys said. It was basically a lot of why I didn't make too many friends in my lodge this year, because I saw how important it was to make the finances right, at least for 1-2 years. Uh, and I constantly educated and communicated and sent out newsletters and called every member of the lodge and said, "This is what I'm doing." I made it very clear that I want us to pay more money, and quit relying on the community to give us money to pay just keep the doors open. I was like, it takes this much money. I gave them exact amounts. Takes this much money to keep our doors open, and we have this much money coming in, and we were $2,000 in the hole. Like, we need to do something about it, and we don't need to do a fundraiser. We need to just pay the
Pony
dues.
up. Yep.
And I didn't make a lot of friends, and that's okay. I don't care, because it was the right thing to do. We lost one member. Actually, we lost two that didn't pay their dues this year. but we lose people every year that don't pay their dues, whether we raise it or not. But I also raised the bar on education and doing a study club every Wednesday and events and things like that. We didn't do anything to the building this year, but our bank account is actually going up, and we've got money invested in CDs, and we're on the right track.
Nice.
As far as like not saying anything, like you were talking, Justin, earlier, you were talking about how many times do we not say what we need to say, and we're just being nice, I don't think I did that at all really this year as worshipful master. I said what needed to be said, and like I said, I didn't make a whole lot of friends, but we're all still brothers. We disagreed on some things. At the end of the day, we're all still brothers, and it's okay. There's some things that I think sometimes guys you got guys in the lodge that are the law followers, and if somebody like tries to do something that's against one of the Grand Lodge laws or something, maybe they just don't even know. There's always that one guy, like, oh, you can't do that, can't do that. And it's like, well, maybe that's not the right way to say it. Maybe
Nobody likes a
stand
hallway monitor.
stand up and like be recognized by the worshipful master first off, and then talk to the worshipful master, and tell the worshipful master and let him decide what to do, rather than just stand up and say, "Oh, that's against the law. You can't," or in group chats or whatever. Anyway, I think there's a proper way to maybe talk about that. Whisper wise counsel. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I liked the conversation you guys had tonight. Sorry I was late. Always glad to be here.
We're just glad to have you, Brad, as always.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Fond of you as well,
Yeah.
Brad.
I love
Really
you right back,
fond
Brad.
of you.
I love you right
Fond
back,
of you.
Brad. I'm
I
not
was
afraid to
that,
tell
I was
you.
that Family Guy. She's like, I love you, Peter. He's like, and I'm fond of you, Lois.
What's it on Pee Wee Herman? I love you, Pee Wee. I like you.
Tom, you got any thoughts tonight?
No, I was just kind of listening in on everything. I mean, everything is good. I mean, most of what you all are saying is kind of what we talked about last week, where you got to kind of add some value to what's there, because people aren't going to pay for nothing. But a lot of what I've been thinking of the last week is, I know back when we had our boom, there was also this boom to build these buildings and these really nice lodges. And it's like, okay, now how did they pay for them? They didn't just do it with fundraising. So I going down a few rabbit holes to find out, but I'm not finding a direct answer. But I'm imagining that most of the members are the ones that finance this stuff and built.
Yeah, that
built
was
these.
back before credit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and it was
most
all
of these.
paid with cash.
Yes.
So they weren't financing anything, and evidently when they were doing this, they were thinking about their grandsons down the
Absolutely.
road. But then in this generation, we're stuck in the point where we're like, okay, maybe we should just consolidate with somebody else and blah blah blah, and really that's what my thinking's been on, because it's like okay, and I know some of the history back in the 1700s. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was easier to do then because most of the people that were Masons came from England. They were landowners. They had money when they got here. And they were successful in business and that. And I think our generation now, we may have a lot more of the working class people that are joining. So it's And I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on that, but that was to me interesting that it seemed to be at that particular time, the early 1900s, was when they were building all these
I'll, I'll,
magnificent buildings. And
I'll tell you from my grandfather's perspective, because he grew up in Grandview, where Tom and I are both members, and he told me when he was a kid, the lodge would meet, like on, well, I guess it still meets. It'd meet on Mondays or something, but it'd be a big deal because all of the farmers, because this was a corn community. Like we used to have a corn festival and all this stuff. They would all come in throughout the weekend, and they would stay at the hotels, and like the town would be packed that one weekend because everybody from the community, the community, not just in town, but like the actual community that comprised the area, they would come in, and these were farmers, and I mean they were paying like a month's worth of oh, it's not wages because they're farmers, but you know what I mean, about a month's worth of what they would earn to be a member at that time. And that's, so it's not because they're landowners, but it's not because they were nobility or rich or anything. It's just it was important to them and it was a big deal. And the fact that I had a farm 10 miles out of town and had to ride a wagon to lodge wasn't an excuse because they came early. Now, did they wear tuxedos? I highly doubt that. I don't think they're at that point, but it was still important enough to them where they probably
They were still wearing
best.
dark suits. I'm telling you, they were still wearing suits. If you look in your pictures at your lodge, you will see members in suits until about the mid 60s into the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, it might be what they wore to church, but at least they're because that was the thing. You still wear dress nights for church, so they probably wore it to church on Sunday and then wore it to lodge on Monday night. So yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time. I have no doubt that there were probably people that had money, but you keep in mind they weren't just building the lodge. In many cases, with these old towns, they were building the school too. The school would meet downstairs, and the lodge would meet on the second or third story. Grandview was a 3-story building for a long time, and they had shops and stuff at the bottom 2 stories.
Do you know what year Grandview was chartered?
It was over 150 years ago. I don't know off the top of my head. Probably about. I looked at it like a few months ago, but I couldn't tell you right now. It's like 18.
I believe it was right before the Civil War, a year or two before.
In the 1860s.
Yeah, I was about to say 1860, something like that. So who? Yeah, but so it's. I think every lodge is different. They all have their own story on how they started meeting and everything. But the fact is that you had these people. Are you still doing your final thoughts, Tom? I'm sorry. Did I totally just...
Yeah, you totally hijacked his final thoughts.
Did I? I apologize, Tom. We're bad about that tonight. I'm sorry. Please continue, Tom.
No. That was good. I mean, it's just like I said. I'm more of the history guy. I'm more into learning where we came from, and that just seemed like a weird question to me. It's like, all the talk isn't about building new buildings. It's about, okay, we ain't got the money to fix this one, so maybe we should join the one in the next town over that'll solve our problem. But a lot of it with what y'all have been talking about, as far as the West Gate and who we're letting in here, and that's going to be a majority of the change. It just seemed like there was a different mindset in the older generations than there are now.
Agreed.
And I mean, like my family's, they're involved in the Pennsylvania jurisdiction, and they still do their meetings like they did in the 1700s.
Tuxedos and top hats.
And they have never changed it because they are keeping that tradition to do. And I mean, and everybody wears white gloves. And I mean, it's kind of amazing when you go to see a meeting there, because like, and I was told before I even visited, they're like, well, you better have a tie and jacket on, or they will not let you into the lodge room for the meeting. That's just the way it is. And I understand in Texas, it's kind of hard to be wearing a sport jacket and a tie all the time. But then again, like Dennis said, In his job, he wears long sleeves. I mean, I'm a welder. If I did not wear long sleeves when I was working, I my arms would be totally tan and the rest of my body wouldn't be. So, in my shop at this time of year, we're anywhere between 115 to 130 in the shop, no matter what the temperature is outside.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
kind of get used to it, and that's why a lot of guys are like, "You're not going to the break room for lunch? It's air conditioned." I'm like, "No, I do not want to be in there for lunch because my body's acclimated to the heat, and
That's right.
I can just sit out here all day long, and it's good." You start going into that 70-degree room, and then you don't ever want to come out of it.
What's crazy is I wear a t-shirt under my shirts all the time.
I
And
always do.
and even at work, I have a t-shirt under my long sleeve shirt. So I'm soaking wet, and then but any breeze, man, I get a chest cold sometimes. It gets so cold. I'm just like, man, I hope I don't get pneumonia because it's
right. Well, I know when I was younger, my grandfather gave me a bit of information because my wife could not figure it out why I always have two shirts on. And I was like, well, he told me a long time ago. He goes, you wear an undershirt in the wintertime to keep you warm.
Yep.
And then you wear an undershirt in summertime so people don't see you sweat.
Yep. That's true. That's true. And if it's so bad that they do see the sweat, then any little breeze, it's going to cool you off for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That undershirt's going to be the one.
We used to have a belt, an airline that we wrapped around us under our shirt.
Yep.
Air holes, and it turned the compressed air into AC. Problem was if it was like by 8 o'clock in the morning and you didn't turn that airline on, you were really cold because it was like you're getting hypothermia.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's all I had. I usually just kind of listen along.
I'm going to touch on that too. On your thoughts. I like that.
I appreciate all of y'all's thoughts on that. I guess
you stopped. So Justin,
yeah,
I told you to put your microphone up to your mouth so that people would hear you and they didn't have to go back and forth.
Yeah.
And then you start talking quieter.
Yeah, because you're afraid to my face.
I know, because you're afraid to. So now you just ruined the whole purpose.
Okay,
go ahead.
So I looked up because I had thought Pennsylvania was actually the largest jurisdiction. This is saying that Texas is largest, but Pennsylvania is right behind it. But my point is, per capita, Pennsylvania has the most Masons. Just because it's a much smaller state, but for it to be right behind Texas,
dense.
Yeah, it's much denser. And they require tuxedos, and they have a totally higher level of expectations for Freemasonry. And I think that says a lot. And I think if Texas went to that, we would see growth also. I think this move towards making things more mundane and accessible to encourage membership and participation actually works against us. It works against our favor.
Oh, and then Justin, another thing that's interesting about Pennsylvania Masonry is when you petition a lodge, you have to have at least 2 members, I believe. It's 1 or 2, but they have to personally know you for a year.
Wow.
And it's a minimum of a year to get in. And I was talking to a brother up there. He said in his particular lodge, the average guy that gets in has already been rejected once. And he said,
wow,
they used to get rejected 3 times to see how serious they were.
Yeah, my granddad told me a similar story.
If you get rejected once, or you just say, okay, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not that serious about it.
Yeah, my granddad told me when he first petitioned Grandview at that time, regardless of who you were, the first time you petitioned, you always got rejected. And that was to really see how see if your heart was in the right place to join the fraternity, basically. He petitioned at the same time as another guy, and when they both got rejected for a year, he asked the other guy if he was going to petition again. He's like, no, F those guys. And he never came back. But my granddad petitioned again, and he got in. And that was the practice at the time, was just to It was just a barrier to entry to see how serious you really were about joining. But I also wanted to say, I looked up, what is the average, can anyone guess, what is the average hourly wage in Texas?
Right now?
I don't know. $20?
A little higher.
Nah. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Higher than $20?
It's based on the average hourly pay for a position in Dallas. But other websites are giving me pretty close numbers too.
If we're talking Dallas, I'm going to say $24.
$24.99.
Yeah, actually, did you Google it, Dennis?
Not me, Daniel.
I mean, Daniel.
That's what ZipRecruiter says.
Yeah. $24.99, $25, $22, depending on where you're looking. My point is, if I pay $25 a month for dues, that is $300 in dues for 1 hour of work for the average pay. Here's the thing: we have Masons that would rather volunteer 3, 4, 5 hours to raise money to fund their lodge instead of just paying what it would cost for 1 hour of work per month for their lodge. If you charge them for 2 hours of work, we're not even talking a whole month's pay here. If you charge them for 2 hours of work, that would mean the dues are $600 and you're paying $50 a month for 2 hours of work. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how that would benefit lodges if they're getting $600 from the dues paying members? Hell, even $300. That's still less than $1 a day.
And even if so that wage is in Dallas,
mm-hmm.
where the cost of living is arguably second, maybe third highest in the state. Even if you took that same formula and applied it to the tiny little country lodge, and you guys know that I am all about the tiny little country lodge.
1,600 members here. Yep. Or
right?
1,600, population here in Goliad.
Right. So let's say the median income in Goliad, or in Brady in my case, is, $12, $13 an hour. Times 12, 1 hour wages per month, multiplied by 12 months, that's $144.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's better than twice what we're seeing out of our base
on average. Yeah.
Our base weight, or our base membership fee, according to Grand Lodge, is $50 a year.
Mm-hmm. If you're charging $50, if you're charging $50 a year, you're basically paying for 2 hours of your work.
A year,
4 hours. I mean, you're not even paying for a full day of work.
Yeah, 1 hour
be a Freemason
per month. That's an argument I'm going to take home.
You're welcome, Byron.
Yep.
Thank you. No, seriously.
There's your
I'm going to take that argument home.
There's your one.
I only get one a year, and I got it.
Yep.
Thank you. No, I think that goes right in there with $1 a day. I mean, if Freemasonry isn't giving you $1 a day worth of value, find another lodge, or reevaluate your Masonic practices, right? Because granted, the lodge isn't supposed to. The lodge can't provide light 31 days out of the year, but if you're not getting that value, if they're not teaching you, and if you're not teaching them, man, you just got to reevaluate. You got to step back and reevaluate your Masonic journey.
Yeah. The lodge should be providing for you an hour a month of value. That's an absolutely reasonable argument.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying it, you're ripping off the fraternity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, normally when you go, you got like an hour for dinner, then hopefully an hour meeting. Hopefully not longer than that. That's 2 hours.
No, we call it dinner. Dinner is your lunch hour. That doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
But if you're in lodge for an hour a month, you should be receiving an hour of value, and you should pay an hour of value.
There you go. Nice.
I like that.
I like that.
Which that also like really puts the pressure on the leadership to be sure that hour is packed with value. If you're gonna use that approach, which I don't disagree with, but hey, treat it less like a business meeting. You have to have business, but treat it less like a business meeting and more like something that actually your charge as worshipful master is to impart light and be sure that your brothers, your lodge, is informed and educated.
Well, and ultimately, if you understand the culture of the lodge, what the brothers want, what they're looking for out of their lodge, because value is relative, right? It's going to be what my value is going to be different than yours, and well, not in this group, but in a lodge, you've got 20 different values, but you have to come together to have a vision or culture. And ultimately, if we hadn't been watered down and screwed by the past, then our value would be on education, which should be our first value. And then education, if you have a great meeting of discussion, rhetoric, and education, then you've gotten your value. And I just totally hijacked your closing statements. I'm sorry. I'm going to put that into mine as well. I'll put that into my closing. I'm going to double dip. Yeah.
It was kind of an open closing discussion anyway.
I'm double dipping with you, Justin.
But no, I just we have taken this dead horse, we've hung it from a tree, and beat it like a pinata for years. And frankly, I hate to be that I told you so guy.
I'm not done beating that horse either.
No, and that's the thing. The things we said would come to pass are coming to pass. I mean, I'll just put it out there. I'll just say it. The things that you and I and our guests and everyone here in our circle has said would come to pass is coming to pass. We are experiencing a Masonic Renaissance. It's not full blown yet, but it's starting. And we are seeing lodges.
And you and I first started that conversation, 5 years ago. We were saying, here it comes. Here it comes. And now it's happening.
Yeah. And we are seeing lodges have to shut the doors. And I'll just, and the thing is, the solutions that you and I have offered are tried and true. They're tried and true. You can apply them to any lodge, and your lodge will be successful. Absolutely. And most of our ideas have changed over time. Our views on some things have changed over time. But the solutions that we have offered have not changed over time. And it's not because
my core values haven't changed, just certain things have changed.
But the thing is, the reason these values haven't changed, the reason these solutions haven't changed is because they're tried and true. And every time we bring somebody on to talk about what they're doing, it's always the same things as what we're talking about. And so that's really the only thing that hasn't changed. What works, works, and what doesn't work, doesn't work. And I don't know, man. Like I go to lodges in my districts that are struggling, that they're zombie lodges. And I mean, they need to turn to the charter. They need to merge, or they need to start listening. And they will do anything but. I'm an asshole to them. I come in and I tell them what they need to do, and I'm the asshole. No, we're not going to do that. I have a solution. I know it will be fixed. Well, buddy, if you knew how to fix it, why are you waiting until now? I have the solutions. I have the solutions. You, Dennis, everybody here in the inner circle, everybody who's been listening to this show. I don't want to sound like a complete narcissist, but honestly, it's okay. The lodges that have the worshipful masters who have taken my advice have had very successful years. And the same thing for the people that listen to you, Dennis. We know what we're talking about. I got feedback. I don't really care per se. I got feedback over the weekend that one of my friends said that he heard that our podcast is boring. Yeah, we could be long-winded. But if you don't listen because we get long-winded, sometimes you're missing out on a lot. You're losing. Really, the only person who suffers because you don't listen Is it me or Dennis? Your lodge. It's your lodge. It's your lodge who suffers. And I hate.
Well, and I'm not going to have the drama that some of the other podcasts have and creates just to keep your attention. If you don't want to listen to stuff that's good for the lodges, then don't listen. Yeah. That's okay. I don't want you to listen anyways.
We have zero drama on Masonic Improvement. We just don't tolerate it. We don't have it. We don't hear it. We shut it down fast. We don't have any drama. And I've seen TikTok content creators. It was like a whole thing a few months ago. Like it just like got real ugly. You see it sometimes on YouTube channels. We don't do that. We don't play that game. We don't talk about stuff just because it gets clicks and views. There are podcasts that do that. And I could tell you where to go. If you want to talk about clandestine masonry and stuff nonstop, but we don't do that. Okay. So, I guess that's my closing rant. If you are frustrated with the state of Freemasonry, and then listen to what we have to say. We are like, I mean, everybody in this inner circle, everybody that's talked tonight is well informed. They're well informed Masons, and they are capable of leading any lodge, any district, Byron, because they have been putting in the work for months, sometimes years, talking about and studying what works and what doesn't. And that is what we have built here on Masonic Improvement. We have an elite squad, the G team, right? So,
oh my gosh, it is not the G team.
Oh my gosh.
But
that was too much. Now you just lost me. I'll see you later.
But to my point, it is so honestly, I think that's, I don't know. I'm not, how do I say this? It reminds me of the story of Jesus, right? Where nobody would listen to him in his hometown. And so he had to travel. And I'm not saying we're not the Masonic messiahs. I'm not saying that by any means. But my point is that the towns closest are the ones that feel like listen the least, with like 2 exceptions, I could tell you. And it's frustrating going, because I'm in a few districts and traveling to a few districts, and people knowing that but they don't want to ask because they don't. And here's what it is: they know but they don't want to ask because that would involve making hard decisions that they don't want to do. And if you don't want to do that, you can't avoid a hard decision. Either make the hard decision to save your lodge, or make the hard decision to demise or merge. Those 2 hard decisions. Pick your hard. It's like being poor is hard, being rich is hard. Pick your hard. What would you rather be? I'll leave it at that.
Nice. That was a good
Mic
one.
drop.
Yeah.
I like
nice
that
job.
one. Poor is hard and rich is hard. Pick your hard. I like that. All right. So tonight we went through a lot of different things and had a little fun. But the things that I like the most about this episode is right here at the end, and I usually do. Number one, I think that Tom is absolutely right that we actually have the same number about the same number of lodges now that we had back in pre-1900. However, I think that during that time we didn't have, we had members that paid. We had members that paid their dues. We had members that cared about what they were a part of. And even during the 60s and whatnot, they still, even though they got away from the education portion and granted, I'm going to tell you that there was a lot of missed education opportunities earlier than that as well. I mean, you hear about Pike and Mackey and Manly P. Hall. All of them commented on it in the past. Lightfoot, they've all commented on the lack of education in the craft. And I think that's because you do have brothers that are more introspective and focus on that, as opposed to brothers that are more in the brotherhood portion of the craft, that care about those relationships and things of that nature. I mean, we care about relationships, but we care about them on an intellectual level. When I talk about the differences between the two, you know, some people care about that intellectual connection, whereas other people just care about that connection, right? And I think that there's always going to be that battle. But I do think that in the past, even when you had the farmers of the areas, like in Grandview or whatever, we had ranchers down here in Goliad. Even with that, those people were successful because they were working their tails off, and so they weren't your guys of today. You know, the guys, the farmers back then, compare them to the farmers of today that have the big farms, the ones that are feeding HEBs and the Tom Thumbs, and you know, the guys that are really producing for the state, that are really producing textiles and whatnot for our country, as well as other countries. You know, think of them as those guys, the guys that own the $1 million tractors, and there are some out there that are used for harvest. Those are the farmers that, in comparatively, that would be the farmers of yesteryear that were your brothers. You know, you didn't have people that were starving farmers that that wasn't necessarily, in my mind, it wasn't necessarily a blue collar type scenario to be in. That wasn't a bad position to be in, to be a farmer, because you were necessary. And so I think the devaluing came during the same time that women started working, joined the workforce along with the rest of the country. You know, it started costing more to live because there was more income coming into the households. And so that started devaluing everything that we were a part of. And that goes with any of the organizations. In my mind, I think that's probably has a lot to do with it, as far as when we started getting cheap with our Freemasonry. I think it's relative to, you know, history itself, and not just how people lived back in the day compared to today. I do think that in the very early stages, yes, you did have a bunch of landowners that came over from Europe, that came over here, and you know, those people that were traveling around establishing the country, you know, they weren't your general run of the mill guys. I mean, when you're talking about building a government, it takes somebody with some intelligence to be able to do that. It wasn't your average run of the mill guy. So I think that we had an elevated level of man that came into the fraternity back then. And I also believe, because it is fact, that back then, if you were to take the inflation rates of when my lodges were chartered to today, even back in 1942, the youngest lodge that I'm a member of today was chartered in 1942, and the lodges of that lodge, the dues of that lodge compared to today with inflation would be $500 a year. And that was in 1942. So it was somewhere after that the value of the lodges started happening. The value of the temple the devaluing of the temple started happening. And I do think that it's relative to when women started working and stuff like that. The men's wages started decreasing. The households were, more reliant on outside things instead of, I don't know. Just a different system of just a different economical system. But that contributed to it. But during that same time, we started watering down Masonry. We got so many members in, and it was like overnight, we had thousands upon thousands of extra members. 250,000 at our peak, to be exact, 252 or 254,000 members in Texas. And when you have that many people that are, going through churning through the degrees in that time period, then obviously you got people that are joining for the wrong reasons. You got people that don't understand what you're actually a part of. Now, a lot of them, interestingly enough, that joined during that time, they did have plenty of money to contribute to the craft, and they were one generation out from the generation that founded most of Texas Freemasonry, and so they know the stature that our forefathers held within their communities. I mean, when you were a Mason, you could walk into any bank and get any amount of money that you wanted to just on a signature. That was back before they had credit. You just say, I need this to open to do this. And because you were a Mason, you were held in such high regard that you just walked out with the money and they knew you were going to pay it back. Now that's the nobility that I think that the Masons had of the day that we've lost a lot of. And I say that because that's the nobility of people who do things for the right reason because it's the right thing to do. And they're trustworthy with their decisions to where you're going to get that money back on your word. Your word meant something. I mean, that's all we got, right? It's the word. And as a master Mason, that's what we're searching for is the word. So anyways, I think that the nobility that we had was the nobility that we talked about last week or maybe the week before, where it's the fact that honor and duty, that truth, that nobility consists of honor and duty. It's an honor to be held in such high regard, but you understand the duty that comes with that of taking care of those around you. And I think that we're missing that today in a lot of instances. It's a lot of what we see today is the culture of today, which is what's in it for me. In fact, that's what we're taught in business right now is, what should you be thinking about for the customer? What's in it for me? Because that's what the customer's expectations are. What's in it for me? I don't care about, anybody else. I don't care if you have to starve doing your profession or whatever. What's in it for me? How cheap am I going to get this to get to have all the stuff that I want to have in life? Right? And that's the mentality we live in today. And so, of course, it's going to flow into our Freemasonry because we have so many brothers that have come through that don't understand that noble contention of the value of the craft. And they're still thinking, what's in it for me? In a negative sense. They're thinking about how cheap can I get this to where I can have more of it. instead of thinking about how can I support this? What's in it for me as far as my educational value, my spiritual, and my what's in it for me as far as my internal value that I'm going to get, instead of what's in it for me with the external value. How many awards and memberships can I buy so I get more lapel pins and more little trinkets on my, all the different medals and collars and this and that, how cheap can I get it so that I can have more of the collars and recognition that says I'm a better man, instead of me showing that I'm a better man by supporting all of my organizations. I think that's a lot of what we're dealing with today. And it's sad that we're in that state. I think that we have multiple lodges within cities that we don't need anymore. A lot of them that were built in the 50s and the 60s when we were at our peak. A lot of them were built. When you see these lodges with the 4-digit lodge numbers, I mean those were generally chartered in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. They weren't your older, flagship lodges. They were lodges that were added on later. I'm in a district that has 5 lodges where I live, and truly there's only 2, maybe 3 that should still be around. And we can drive to that. We have cars now. We're not riding on horseback. So we can drive to those lodges without that much of an expense to ourselves. I mean, shoot, even in my truck, I pay $90 a tank in gas, and I drive so much that man, I spend almost as much as somebody makes in a year just on travel to all the different lodges. But for the regular Mason that just wants to support one lodge and do it well, they can make that hour-long drive every month, once a month, to that one lodge and still be able to spend, $25 a month on that lodge, an hour of work on that lodge. I don't see why we have the problems we have today, except for that what's in it for me on the external instead of what's in it for me on the internal. I think that should be my next paper, is what's in it for me.
Dennis, it reminds me of the beehive, right? You have all the bees. They're not working for themselves. They're working collectively to build something. And that's right. The mentality. That's the mentality we used to have. That's why we came together and built these things in our community, because we're building it for the community, for the betterment of the community.
Yes. And what's interesting is, in that beehive lesson, we're taught that we should not be concerned with all the variations. So like somebody saying that we're boring versus another podcast that's exciting, because they get into the nitty-gritty and stuff, the real ugly side of stuff, instead of just trying to fix the membership that we're in, or the lodges that we're in. That's concerning yourself with stuff on the right and the left that you shouldn't be concerning yourself with. We should be, focused on the work at hand.
It's unproductive.
What's the word that I was looking for? We should be, it's the same meaning pertains to unconcerned. We shouldn't be concerned with certain things. But anyways.
Disinterested.
Disinterested. That's the word. We're supposed to be disinterested. And it doesn't mean that we should be mundane or not interested in life and love and all those different things. It should be that we should be disinterested in the drama. We should be focused on what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the internal. We should be disinterested to the bling. We should be, and I'm not talking about wearing suits bling. I'm talking about all the medals and awards bling. We should be disinterested to that stuff. We should be focused on the different rights and bodies that we want to be members of for what we can gain internally, not what we're able to show people externally. I don't like people that show off all the different places they are, wearing fancy clothes and this and that, and then saying, I don't have money to give, I want to do a fundraiser. Screw that. If you can afford to be in these nice settings with all these in this nice atmosphere, then you can afford to fund your own charities that you want to do. But going back to what we were talking about, I think the nobility that we're discussing is the honor of being a Freemason and being able to be in a membership such as this, and in a brotherhood such as this, and the duty of taking care of others. I think that's our royal lineage that we should be concerned with. But the fact that we have too many buildings right now is the noose around our neck. We don't have the membership to support those buildings, so we should be making those hard decisions. It's time to start making those hard decisions so that we can afford what we have, so that we can afford to have the better experience that our membership deserves. If we're paying $25 a month for Freemasonry, let's make sure that we're given that value. And if we didn't have the noose of the 3 extra lodges in the district around our neck, then we might be able to create that value. I don't know. We have a lot going on that it is the time of Renaissance. There's an uptick in education, development of our soul, our spirit, our intellect, and we've got a noose around our neck with the infrastructure that's decaying. I see a time where, yeah, it's great that Right Worshipful Billings is trying to find this insurance for us. But I think on the flip side of that, as soon as we jump into that mode to where there's options available for lodges, I think it should be mandatory for lodges to have insurance. And if they can't afford it, then they need to close their doors. I think if you can't, if you cannot get insured, it's because your building's too far gone, and if your building's too far gone, then it's unsafe. Insurance companies, they're not going to insure something that's unsafe because it's liability. That's the name of the game. It's insurability and liability, and due to liability, insurability due to liability. So if it's unsafe, they're not going to insure it. So if they're not going to insure you, then it's time to go. It's time to get rid of that building. If you need to stay in a pub for a while, rent a pub for a while or whatever to do your lodge, then that's what you need to do. But I don't even know that that's possible with today's laws because of the fact that we have to have a home for the charter. So we would have to get back to a different conversation if we got down to that point. But I think that those are the kind of things that Grand Lodge should be thinking of, because these lodges out there that aren't concerning themselves with these details, these fine details in life, are threatening our brotherhood. They're threatening all of us, because as soon as it takes somebody's life, then it brings bad press onto all of us. It's just like guarding the West Gate. As soon as we let the wrong guy in, and he goes and creates havoc within a city or whatever, then it makes us all look bad. And it doesn't even have to be the kind of havoc that we see on the news on a regular basis. Even less damaging than that kind of thing, and it damages us. It's the same thing. The lodge level can do it, and it all boils down to the culture of the lodge. Do you want to be nobles? Or do you want to practice Freemasonry? Or do you want to practice Masonry? I think that Freemasonry is where we come from when we became speculative and we're free and accepted, because we are intelligent, we can build upon our intelligence, and we can utilize our intelligence to further ourselves, our family, and our community individually, not as a lodge. It's not our lodge's responsibility to further the community. The individuals of the lodge do that. So we don't need to have fundraisers to give out scholarships and all this other kind of stuff. We need to focus on ourselves. We need to put the mask on ourselves first. That's basically how I feel, is we need to put the masks on ourselves first. We need to get this all figured out, stop playing games, and take a hard look at where we're at. We're still the members of the strongest brotherhood in the world that has something to offer the world. But we need to get back to it and stop pretending that we're something else or something that we're not. So, brothers, as far as I'm concerned, if you feel like you're out there on an island somewhere and you're thinking these same thoughts, I know that we all ramble sometimes on some of the same dead horses, but if people were listening, we'd be in a much better situation. There would be no need for us. But people aren't listening. So if you feel like you're out there on an island, we got you. We've got the place for you. And we also know the lodges that are implementing the things that we discuss, because we get these ideas from different lodges that are successful. It's not that we're brilliant. It's that we watch and we pay attention and we learn. We're educating ourselves based off of other people's legacy. We educate ourselves off of other people's legacies, the way we should be doing in Freemasonry. You know, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and we're just pissing it away. So if you feel that same way, feel free to like and subscribe. Keep watching. Justin and I do have some specific shows planned that are going to be good coming up that I can't wait to get recorded and get sent out to you guys. We've got some great shows of the past that talk about many of these topics, and we have a great event that happens every year that's coming up in January. That's another thing I need to do is go ahead and call and get our room ready.
Snuck up on us, hasn't it? This whole year's gone by fast.
Shoot, yeah. That's okay. We'll have our room. So we will have.
I'm sure they'll give it to us. Considering how much people we're bringing.
Yeah, she's already reached out. I just hadn't called to confirm. So we'll have our room, and we'll have another dinner just like we do every year. And otherwise, I love you guys, and I appreciate your time spent with me. I love listening to you guys. I'm sorry that I get long-winded sometimes, but it's one of those scenarios. Sorry, not sorry. Someday when everybody listens, then I'll stop talking so much. But other than that, keep it between the points.
Peace out, y'all. All right, y'all stick around.